Okay. Hope you people are able to see the screen, right? You people might see some Excel screen. Yeah. Okay. Now, in the previous class, we have understood what is SAP HANA, what are the different features of SAP HANA, what it can leverage, what we can leverage from SAP HANA, right? Now we're going to start working on SAP HANA. Now to understand, so before we start working on SAP HANA as part of database or modeling or whatever it is, we need to understand the architecture or the server setup, how it is being done now. Okay. Now let's say, 1 second. Okay, boss. Now we are trying to understand the setup or the environment first. So before we start working on SAP HANA, okay. Now understand this is my system or machine or a computer, or I'll be referring this as server machine. Okay. Let's say I have taken up a system. Okay. So whenever we have a system or a computer, before we install any of the application or whatever it is, we have to install the OS. So what I've done is we have installed OS. So whenever you want to install HANA, we need to install it on the OS SUSE Linux. Okay. So what we've done is we have taken up a machine or we have taken up a system or a computer. So whenever we have a system, first we need to have an OS installed, right? So we have installed the OS SUSE Linux here. Okay. SUSE Linux is a OS installed here. Now once the OS is installed, I've installed the HANA bus. So HANA would run only on this SUSE Linux. Okay. So then I've installed the HANA server, HANA box. I've installed the HANA box. So basically, when you install the HANA box, by default you will get the so it will install the database services. So when I say database services, this will help you to perform the database activities in HANA. Okay, like creating table, or let's say you want to run some SQL queries, or you want to create some HANA views or modeling. All those will be taken care by your database services. And then by default, it will also install the XS or XSA, which we call XS means XS extended services, or XSA is what extended services advanced. Okay, XS indicates extended services, or XSA indicates extended services advanced runtime is by default installed. So
So this is for which server package? I mean, the version of this HANA.
I'm coming. It is 2. Yeah, HANA 2 is
Thank you,
support
sir.
pack 2. Yeah. So we've installed HANA database services. By default, when you install HANA, it installs the database services and the server, and also the XS, which is indicated as extended services and extended services advanced runtime. So this XS advanced runtime is available only from support pack 11. From HANA 1 SP11 we have this, and initially only from SP6, when we had HANA version 1, only from support pack 6 we had this XS extended services, and from support pack 11 we had this extended services advanced. Now in HANA 2 it is improvised. So as of today, we are going to have both the runtimes in the server now, because still many of them have not migrated from extended services to advanced. So we as of now we'll have both, but in future, in a major release, SAP is going to remove this extended services classic. Normally, normal access we call it as classic, and we have advanced. So these two are by default installed when you install the HANA server, HANA platform. Okay, when you install this is, you can understand HANA platform or HANA server on it. Then about data integration or EIM, or you wanted to have enterprise, all this will be add-ons within C. There'll be some servers, there'll be some applications like say data integration, EIM, or smart data integration, smart data quality, like say EAD, enterprise architecture designer. Um, all those will be based out of base applications built on this runtime, and there'll be like smart data access or another other database applications built on top of this. Okay, these two will be the main ones which are installed. So this is Linux box. Okay, now I would like now. So there are different versions. As of today, we have ANA version 2 support pack 2 release. Okay, so we are having the latest system installed, and then we are trying to use that. Okay, fine. Now once you have this server set up already, as of now, we'll deal only with this. Don't worry about the SAP applications or BW applications now. We are only dealing with HANA box now. Okay. XSA is available from which HANA support pack? Yeah. XS Advanced is available from support pack 11. HANA version 1 from support pack 11, XSA Advanced. That was in a very, not in a mature state, but now, okay, decent way it is. Okay. Going forward, Access Classic will be removed, and you will find only Access Advanced runtime in future. Okay, in the next major release. Yeah. Okay. Now once we have this box, now as a developer, let's say because we're going to work as a developers, right? Now we are the developers now. As a developer, so I'll be working as a developer on HANA or a modeler, developer or modeler or whatever it is. So when I have to work on HANA database, I will not get into the system. I will not get into the server, right? Basically, I'll be having my own client system, client mission, or again, let's say that is, I'll have another mission. Again, you can call it as a mission system, but not server. It's normal computer. Yeah? To be in the layman, I'm just using this terminology. It's like normal systems. Okay. So let's say you are the developer here. Assume you are the developer. You have your own mission, or you have your own system, or you have your own computer. Okay. So this will be called as your client systems. So this will be your server. Okay. And the mission where you are working will be referred as client. Yeah. So as a developer, the mission what you have will be referred as your client mission. Okay. Now from the client mission, you will get connected to from the client mission. You have to connect to the server and start working on it. First basic prerequisite is I should these two systems should be in a network. It could be in local LAN or it could be through VPN, whatever it is. You should be able to ping this server from the client mission. First prerequisite is from the client mission. If I have to get connected to my HANA server and start working on it, first of all, I should make sure whether it is through VPN or LAN or WAN or whatever it is, or through internet or through public IP or whatever it is, I should have proper networking between my client and the server mission. Yes. Between the client and the server mission. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Once I have the network, I should be able to ping the server system for me. Yeah. I should be able to ping so that I am able to communicate. When I say ping, I'm able to communicate to the server. Okay. So once I have that prerequisite done, Now from the client vision, I'm able to ping my server. Then I need to start developing. Once I get connected to the server, I need to do a development. As a developer, I need to start creating HANA views, or I need to create my database in HANA. I need to do all those kind of development activities onto SAP HANA bus. So for that, we'll have three options here. First thing, HANA Studio. First thing is HANA Studio bus. In the client mission, you can install HANA Studio from HANA Studio. Once since you have networking available to the server, from HANA Studio, you will start connecting to the HANA server and start developing the applications on HANA, or start developing your database first. So when it comes to HANA Studio, this is a desktop-based application. This is a desktop-based application. So first thing is you can. So this is a desktop-based application and Eclipse, ECLI, Eclipse-based. So I have HANA Studio, which is an Eclipse-based IDE. I call it as IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Yeah? Integrated Development Environment. So I have HANA Studio, which is an Eclipse-based IDE, Integrated Development Environment, and this is a desktop-based application. So when I say Integrated Development Environment, so what is that you want to do with HANA Server once you have the setup? From the client tools, you would like to get connected to the HANA Server and start developing your applications, or start developing your database, or start modeling your database, or or modeling your HANA views. You like to do all those activities by connecting to the HANA Server, on top of HANA Server, right? So when you got to do this, you require a lot of development tools, or lot of options, or lot of activities, or lot of transactions to be performed. Like say you might need a SQL editor, or you might need a modeling editor, or you might need a workspace where you can develop your applications. So all this is what we call it as development tools. All this is what we call it as development tools. Okay. So all these development tools have been packaged as one application as HANA Studio and given it to you. So when I install my HANA Studio and log in, I will be able to see all those ready-made tools available for me. By using these development tools, and I can start getting connected to HANA system and start building my applications, or start building my database, or start modeling my HANA views. That is what I mean as integrated environment. It's a developer workspace. As a developer, I need to have some workspace where I can start working on building applications, or building database, or modeling my views. So for doing this, whatever is necessary, what are the development tools which are necessary, or what are the options, or menus, or activities, what I need to do, all are consolidated or integrated as one desktop-based application, which is your HANA Studio. Now, someone is asking what is the meaning of Eclipse-based. When I say Eclipse-based, Eclipse is actually a standard IDE, what is generally used by Java developers. Generally, Eclipse is already an open source component, which is already available, which is leveraged by Java application developers generally, as of previously. So what SAP has done is SAP has taken the same Eclipse environment and added some plugins to it, means say some development tools, plugins specific to HANA, and made that as HANA Studio. So Eclipse was already open source, which was a open source IDE, which was already available for Java developers. So that was the integrated development environment, or that was with lot of development tools, which was more comfortable for Java developers to run the applications, or create the Java applications, or debug them. All those was there. So what SAP has done is SAP has taken the same Eclipse component and they've added some SAP specific plugins or SAP HANA specific plugins, and they gave it as HANA Studio. That is what I mean as Eclipse based IDE is what HANA Studio. Okay, and this is a desktop based application. So first option is you can leverage this HANA Studio and start get connected to your HANA system and start working on your HANA database or application development. Next, next option, since my server has got Access Classic, since my HANA server has got Access Classic, which is extended service, this is a runtime, these are services, these are servers. This is a server program, these are runtimes, okay? Services which are available in my server, Access Classic, extended application services. If Classic is there, right? Since I have extended Classic, what SAP has done is they have given you Access Classic Web IDE. So if you have Access Classic available in your server, if you have your Access Classic runtime or services available in your server, there is another option through which you can get connected to your HANA server and start working. You have another option of client tool, which is called as Web IDE, web-based tool, integrated development environment of based on Classic engine or Classic runtime. Okay. So again, when I say IDE, it is again integrated development environment. Now this is going to be more web-based. Boss, please mute yourself, please. Someone, Vivek, you can mute, please. So I can leverage Access Classic Web IDE, which is actually a web-based application for developing my applications or for building my database or for doing my modeling, all this. So this is just a web-based application. But whereas this was a desktop-based application, I need to explicitly install some software and then start working on it. But in this case, this is just you will be just given a web-based URL through which you can just log in and then start working. This is a web-based application. Okay. Same way. Next, since you have XSA advanced runtime, we have another flexibility of getting working from the client vision. We can leverage XSA services, XSA apps, you can say applications, okay. And on XSA there are a lot of apps, okay. And one of the app is Web IDE. One of the app is Web IDE. So we also have Web IDE app. We also have an Web IDE. Sorry. We also have an Web IDE app, which is part of XSA, because I told you, extended application services advanced is actually a service, is actually a runtime. There are a couple of applications running on top of it. Like Web IDE is one of the application. So we can also leverage this web-based IDE, which is running on XS advanced for developing my applications or developing my database or to work on my HANA database. And which is also a web-based application. Okay, boss. So you basically have all these three options to work on your HANA system. You either work on HANA Studio or you either work on Web IDE of Classic or Web IDE of XS Advanced. What are the hardware prerequisites for HANA server and client? And any does client mission has any voice prerequisite? No, client. Sorry. Normally, client system is the system what you're using. Can you work on Linux, right? No, right? Generally, you'll have Windows. But it's not Windows Server, normal OS, okay? Windows OS, normal Windows OS, okay? It need not be Windows Server. Normal Windows OS should be fine. It need not be a server OS. Normal client server, client system OS, okay? And when it comes to hardware, see, there is nothing specific to any particular sizing. But what I understand is, yesterday I was telling you about different editions, right? Express edition, standard, and enterprise edition. When it comes to standard and enterprise, is what the production licensing. If there is a client who actually wants to use deploy HANA in the production environment, they have to go with standard or extended or enterprise edition. So when they decide about installing, there will be something called sizing guidelines in the service marketplace based on their client requirements. They would decide, they'll have all the calculations like what is the present database size which you want to move to HANA. So what is the percentage of growth of data for every year wise? For next year, next 5 years, what could be the database size? They would calculate all this. Then, and what is the kind of performance they're expecting? How many applications are running on top of it? How many user? What is the bandwidth? How many? What is the throughput they want? So they'll have lots of questions to be answered. Based on this, they come out with the sizing what is required for the or the hardware specifications for my server, whether it should be a 256 GB RAM or it should be 1 TB RAM or what should be your disk. Basically, our disk size and RAM size and what should be your hardware specification. That's what they come out with. That is called sizing. Yeah? Now, I think OS, when it comes to client, this should be normal. I think minimum 4 GB RAM should be there at your client, minimum 4 GB RAM, and normal Windows OS. That's it. And hard disk, nowadays it's okay. You can have 500 GB or 1 TB hard disk is should be fine. Yeah? I think I hope I answered your question. So if you try to ask the questions at the last, if you ask in the middle, I might get deviated. Okay. So now I've got all these three options available through which I can have this as a client These three are my client interfaces through which I can get connected to my HANA server and start developing my applications or building my database or building my models. HANA modeling also can be done. Clear? You clear with this? Okay, should be fine, right? Okay, good. Now I'm going to show you. You don't have to worry about how to install HANA Studio. That's just like you'll have an exe file which you download and then you just run in and you import some plugins. Okay. Now I already have HANA Studio which is installed. Now let me show you how does that look like. So I'm just going with the start programs and I'm saying HANA. See, once I have the HANA Studio installed, one second. See, so I just go to the start menu. I just go to the start menu and I would say HANA here, and then I start getting opening and then select that HANA Studio program and then this opens this. So this is my HANA Studio. Okay. Okay. Now I told you HANA Studio is actually a desktop based up. See, now this is mine is a client system. Okay. And if you look at this, this is my server. I'll show you. So what? Look at this. This is my server system, which is running on Linux. Okay, which is a VM. Yeah. But this is my client system. In the client system, I have installed my HANA Studio, and this is my HANA Studio. Now I told you this client IDE HANA Studio will help you for building the database or HANA modeling or developing applications, or it could be when you want to work on BW on HANA or ABAP on HANA. All this can be done from a single integrated development environment. So HANA Studio itself is alone enough or to work on either HANA database or on the application development or on the BW on HANA or BW for HANA or ECC on HANA, S4 HANA, everything can be worked out here. Okay. So what they have done is to enable everything in one application. They came out with something called perspectives. So you have come to HANA Studio for what? Would you like to work on the database services, or would you like to work on the application development, or would you like to do on the administration, HANA administration, or would you go on with BW on HANA, or would you like work with ABAP on HANA? So you can differentiate by specifying the perspectives here. Now, if you see a menu here at the top, open perspectives. If you click, there are multiple perspectives. So ABAP is a perspective which you leverage when you want to work with ABAP on HANA bus. So you leverage this perspective BW modeling when you want to work on BW on HANA. Okay. And you have a perspective called HANA Modeler. This is a perspective when you want to work on your HANA database and do HANA modeling, like where you go about creating calculation views, attribute views, analytical views. Okay. And you have a perspective called HANA development. This is another perspective which can be leveraged for developing your applications. Yesterday I was telling you, HANA will have extended services where you can develop your own custom applications by leveraging XSJS, JavaScript or Node.js or Java, or you can develop your own custom applications. When you got to do that, we use HANA development perspectives. And then we have another perspective called administration perspective, which can be leveraged by your basis people or HANA administrators who are responsible for maintaining the server or starting or stopping the server or taking backups or doing recovery or setting up the replication mirrors server, okay, and doing troubleshooting, understanding any alerts in the system, understanding how the resources of the HANA system are being managed. Are there any trouble? If there is any problem, and do the troubleshooting and then do diagnosis. All this can be done at the administration console. Like this, in a single integrated development desktop-based application, which is HANA Studio, since there could be different type of consultants working on, there might be a modeler, there might be a developer, there might be an administrator logging in, there might be a BW consultant working and logging in to work on BW on HANA, there might be an ABAPer who is logging in to work on ABAP on HANA. It could be different perspectives from each of the person. So what they've done is, in a single integrated development environment component, they have given multiple perspectives. So depending on the perspective what you want, you can start choosing the perspective and then get into that mode, and then you get into that mode, and then that mode gives you necessary tools or development tools for you to do that activity. When I get into the HANA modeler, I will be able to see the necessary development tools or components or menus or options which are mainly helpful for building the database and doing HANA modeling or about creating the HANA views. If I get into HANA development, I'll be able to see development tools or menus or options which will help me to build my custom applications on top of HANA database. If I get into administration, I will have all the menus and options or the tools which will be necessary for doing administration on HANA. Similar way with BW modeling, similar way with ABAP on HANA also. Okay, you might see an icon here, or you can also go to this Windows. So perspectives, you see, open perspectives, others. If you can get it from here also, you can get into window, perspectives, open perspectives, and others. Okay, boss. Okay. Now, preferably, I would prefer to get into HANA modeler perspective now. Now you have the HANA Studio. You are in the HANA modeler perspective. It's fine. Now, once this is given, now you'd like to start getting connected to my HANA server bus or a HANA database. So within the HANA server, you're going to have a database, right? Now, before I get into this, there's one point you need to understand here. Now, I don't know, yesterday I was telling you about a point called multi-tenant or multi-tenancy, right? So one more point is, when you install HANA server, when you install SAP HANA server, by default, system creates one DB called system DB bus. By default, system creates one database. Within HANA server, it creates one database which is called a system DB. Okay. By default, system creates one system DB for you. Okay. Then what my administrator has done is, by using the system DB, he has created one child. He has created one child which is a tenant database where the name is HXC. Caps. Where the database name is HXC. So what happens? The system DB, when you install your HANA server, by default system DB, system database is by default, one system database is created. Okay. So they didn't want to use this. What they've done is they've created one more database called HXC, which is a tenant database. Like this, in one HANA server, you can have multiple tenant databases which are actually a child of system DB. Like this, I can have HXC, BPR, I can have BNR, I can have n number of tenant databases like this. That is called as multi-tenant concept. Okay. So when I say multi-tenant, so when you connect it to HANA system, to which database do you want to work on? So you connect to the HANA server, fine. Within the HANA server, in which database do you want to work on? Let's say I want to work on HXC container or HXC tenant database. So whatever the database or applications I create on HXC is specific to HXC only. Or if I get connected to HANA server with specific system DB, what are the database or what are the applications or models I create that is specific to system DB only. So what are the developments or applications I can modularize them with specific to multiple databases like this. We call it as tenant databases. So I'm preferably trying to connect to this HXC tenant database here. Okay, and moreover, the IP address is give. I'll tell you what is my IP address of my system. What I've done is, one second. I've already updated that in the host. So I've updated my host file. Yeah, sorry. So this is my IP address of the server. 192.168.48.129 and the server name is HXC host. So what I've done is in my client system, when you go to drivers, you will have etc file, etc folder, and then you will have a file called host. In this host file, this is the host file. I've updated my IP address saying this IP address 192.168.48.129 tab. You have to give the tab and then say this represents this host. So now whenever in my local client system, whenever I use this name HXC host, it will be pointing out to this IP address. So I don't have to specify IP address now. So in my client system, not in the server bus, in my client server, in my client system, in the host file, I have updated my IP address like this: 192.168.48.129 represents HXC host. So in my client system, whenever I use the word HXC host, it will be repointing to this IP address where my HANA server is running bus. Okay. Whether HXC is default name? No, 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 no. But someone is asking me, is HXC the container name is default naming? No, 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 no. Why in Google or many people use the word is, I told I'm using the Express Edition given by SAP. SAP has given some ready-made HANA database which you can install in a local machine and practice. So that gives me HXC as the naming bus. That's where there's no fixed naming like this. Okay. So host file is, you understood now? So in the developer, whoever is going to be a developer or modeler in his client mission, you will find when you go to run, okay. So when you go to Windows run, you go to Windows run, okay. Then you click on the drivers folder. Then it will open up your drivers folder. Then you will see a folder called etc. Then you will see a file called host. Open that with the notepad. I've done that. And then in this notepad, please update the IP address of your HANA server and represent the name of the server, HXC host bus. Now, once that is done, in my client system, whenever I use this word HXC host, it will be able to recognize my IP address bus. Okay. Fine. That is fine. I already done that. That is one. And one more thing is, whenever you install your HANA server, okay, whenever you install your HANA server, it will have an instance number. It will have an instance. Whenever the HANA server is installed, they would install with some instance number. So instance number for me is 90 here. For me, instance number is installed with, or see, I will not do any installation. My administrator will tell me This is the IP address where my server is running, and this is the name of server. I update that in my host file. Then it tells me the instance is 90 bus, and it gives me user ID and password which I need to log in. Okay. So once I know what I'll do, I'll get into my now here. Okay. This is how it looks like. I'll say this. Okay, this is the perspective how it looks like. Okay, generally, initially when you go to where I'm in which perspective bus? On a modeler perspective. Then you see a menu, you see a node. Okay, here are systems. Okay, you see, we'll get to this later. Now, so when you have to so when you have to work on that HANA system, you have to create, you have to get connected to the system, right? You have to say from this client desktop application HANA Studio, I would like to work on to this database, right? You'd like to configure that. So I would like to add that system. So this is similar to your SAP GUI bus. So in the client system, you'll have SAP GUI, and then you keep adding n number of SAP applications and get connected, right? Same way it's here, okay? You don't have to check instance number now. It will be your administrator has to tell you Hemant, okay? Now, or once you get connected, we can check, okay? Now in the systems, now right click. Now, I need to add my system. You can add n number of HANA systems or NS. Once you have HANA Studio, provided it is in the network, you can get connected to n number of HANA servers by adding those system connections here. I'm adding a connection. Right click on the system and say add system. Now what does it ask you? Host name. What is my host here? Means nothing but server. I can either give my IP address, which is 192 so and so, or if I have updated my host file, so my host name recognizes the IP address, so I can specify the host HXC host. Now, whenever I use this word HXC host, it understands the IP address as 192.168.48.192 there, and then it asks me instance number. So, what is the instance my HANA server is running on? 90, okay, and they are in the network, okay. Then it is asking me, is it single container or is it multi-container bus? Now tell me, when it's a single container, you're going to have only one database. There is no tenant. If you don't have a tenant database, then it is a single container bus. When you have not configured a tenant database, it means it is a, what is it? It is a single container bus. But if you have a tenant database, it means it is a multi-container bus. Okay. Now for me, I want to connect to this HXC, which is a tenant database here. So it is a multi-container. It has got multiple tenants. That asks me which is a tenant database you want to connect, or do you want to connect to system DB? Do you want to connect to system DB? Means this one. I want to connect to this one, right? So tenant database, which is a tenant. So by default, we'll have system DB, but I would like to connect to the tenant database which is created. What is the name of the tenant database? HXC, which is in caps, and then say next. Or I can give some description here. I'm saying HANA HXC DB HANA system, okay, and say next. That will ask me the username and password, so which they've already given me. I'm using the system user for me, or you can know. I am given password. Free. Yeah, that's it. That's it. My HANA system is connected. That's it. This HANA. So now from this HANA Studio, I've connected to my tenant database, which is HXC, which is running in, and then I would like to start I would like to start working on it. So I'll see catalog, which is nothing but the schemas and the databases. I see content with all the modeling views, HANA views. Okay, don't worry on this. And then security, where you can create your users, authorizations, all this. Okay, fine. Next, I would like to connect to the system DB also. I can once you have HANA Studio, you can get connected to n number of HANA servers, not one. So I would like to connect add system, another system I would like to go with HXC host, same server, but instance is also same, but multi-container. This time it's a system DB bus. Okay, I'll say system DB. System DB HANA system. This is another container. Now I'm connecting to another system DB now. Okay, server is same, but the tenant database is different. Okay, system Okay, finish. Now, once I know the host name and the instance and the tenant which database I'm connecting, you can start connecting to n number of servers. So once I have my HANA Studio, from here itself, I'll be creating a connection to my development server, quality server, production server. All the HANA systems will be, once you have Studio, you can start getting connected to all the servers and start working on it. Okay. Use is uses a link communication user with all access. Since which version we have in this tenant concept? Tenant database, we have this concept from SP9. For HANA 1 SP9, we have this tenant concept. Okay. So how to check in? Done. Okay. This is how you can connect and start. Let's not worry about working now. Okay. This is one. Okay. So this is once you have the system, and then once you add your system, and then you can start working on it. This is one way of doing it. Next, I told you we'll see how to start working on HANA Studio later, but this is how you configure it and be ready for it. Next is, I told you, if you have Access Engine, if you have Access Classic, you also have Web ID, which you can work on, right? Now, how is it is? Now, let me open the note file. So, how is it is? Now, so first, before I go into Access Classic ID, I want to know whether in my server ID, whether Access Engine is installed or not, or whether Access server is running or not. Okay. So what we do is HTTP, because it's web based, right? / and your instance name. What is your instance name, or your IP address of the server, or your instance name? What is your instance name, boss? HXC host. Okay. Colon 80, then XX. This XX should be replaced by your instance number. Suppose if your instance number is 00, then it will be 00 here. If your instance number is 90, then it will be 90. If it is 80, it will be 80. So 80 is fixed, okay? Then the next two digits will be has to be replaced by your instance number. By going to this, you will be able to understand whether my Access engine is up and running or not, or whether Access server is running or not, okay? So in my case, what is my instance bus? 90, right? So in my case, my server name is HXC host and 8090. And when I say HXC host, this will represent this IP address 192.168.48.120, because you can also specify IP address also, boss. No, not an issue. You can also specify IP address also. But since I already updated my host file saying whenever I use this name HXC host, this is the IP address, so I don't have to leverage IP address here. Okay, I can just specify the name. So now by going to this URL, I can know that whether Access engine is up and running or not, right? I'll go to Chrome. I'll bring my Google Chrome. So where am I running this URL? In the server or in the client bus? I'm running this in the server or client? In the client machine. From the client machine, I'm running this URL bus. HXC host 8090 and then say execute. Now it says clearly Access engine is up and running, which indicates your extended services classic mode is available in my server. Sometimes they may not have classic mode, they might have only advanced, but to check whether in my HANA server the classic mode is installed or not, I can go to this URL and check whether my Access engine is up and running. Okay. Is this clear with everyone? Done? Okay. Now once I understand my Access Classic is available, I would like to use this Web IDE, Access Classic Web IDE to log in, and I would like to leverage this web-based application to develop my database. How do I access that? Okay. Simple. It'll have all this now. If you go to this is Access engine, right? For this, you add this URL extension /SAP/HANA/IDE. This will take you to Web IDE, which is running on Access Classic, because till here you know that this is a classic server. On top of classic server, I have this web IDE application running on it. So web IDE is a web-based application which is running on the XS Classic runtime, which can be leveraged as a client interface to develop or to work on the HANA database or to work on the HANA development. Yeah. So now let me just take this URL and let me get to this. This is engine. Okay. Now I would like to get into this URL. So on my XS Classic, I have my application ID running, which I would like to get in. Now get into this. Now this will ask for the username. I have my own user system. And then login. So this will be web-based IDE. Now come, see, now look at this. SAP HANA web-based development environment. Same how, see, HANA Studio was a desktop-based development environment, and this is an web-based environment. Now, two things here. If you want to see, traces is for trace and security for administration. Catalog is for building your database. Okay, and doing your HANA modeling. Now this is for editor is for your developing your HANA native applications where you build your own custom applications using. But as of XS Classic, you can only develop applications by using XSJS, which is JavaScript and OData services and HTML5. Okay. Now if I go to catalog, okay, if I click on the catalog, if I click on the catalog, now see, you get to see this. See, since you're running on this host, by default it's already connected, and then you see this catalogs, all the schemas. Okay, um, you get to see the provisioning. Don't worry on this. If you go to catalog, I can go to SQL. I can open SQL editor here, and then I can basically type in select. I can write my own select SQL editor also from here. Okay. So this is a web-based environment here. I can say create schema, all those stuff can be done. Okay. This is one option. Okay. So this is the old classic web IDE was. Now same way you have this XS advanced. Suppose if you have your server which has got XS advanced runtime built in, then I can basically work on that also. So even XS advanced extended services application with advanced also delivers comes with the web IDE bus. Now this will have its own numbering or naming. Okay. So when you want to go with XS advanced, this is the URL. It has to be HTTPS. Okay, the secured one. Okay, and your host and it port will be 3xx30, and where XS is your instance number. So this is the URL where you can see whether your XS advanced server is running or not. So on top of XS server or XS advanced server, you'll have other applications which are like web ID, which is running on it. Okay. Now I'm going to replace this with 9. So what is my instance number, which is 90? So I'm going to say, I'm going to put XX. Let me again copy this. So if I take this out, so 90 is 90. Eh? Now take this URL. Now fire it out. I take another tab. Now just get in and this. And you see this XSA, which is Extended Service Advanced. Okay, is up and running. Now once I have this server XS Advanced is running, I would like to get into the web IDE. Web IDE. So even XS Advanced also gives you another web IDE. Here, if you see to the right, you see different applications. You have an admin application, you have HTTP service application, Node.js tools. Now, when it comes to XS Advanced, now one point was in the classic, when it comes to HANA native development, where you develop your own custom applications by writing programming, there you can only use XSJS and OData services. But when in the XS Advanced, you can still use XSJS, OData, Node.js, Java programming, C++, any other programming. and then also write one program with combining of all these codes also. Okay. Or now I would like to go with web ID. Look at this here. I have a menu here, web ID. Yeah. This is running at the port 507. Now I just click on this. You can right click, open in new tab. Now this will take me to web ID bus. Now here I've got a different user, XSA underscore admin, and my password. I know this has got still no authorizations. I've not given this is a new. Since I've not given any authorizations, it is giving us forbidden. Okay, but I'll show you with this. You're going to take system access from Vasu, right? Here I've actually done this already. So if you go to Vasu system in the HANA details, if you open in the desktop, you'll see a file called HANA details. Here I see I'm going to use this one. HANA, okay, BW for HANA, which is host name is what? SAP BAS and instance number is 00, okay, and the username is Han and welcome 123, okay. Here, let me show you this. So, what is my HTTPS? It will be SAP BAS colon 3. What is my instance number? 00 and 30. 30 is fixed. Now, this will tell me about Access Engine is up and running in my server. And on this, I'll have to go into the web IDE. Now, for web ID, your user, it is not given there. It is XSA underscore admin. Okay. And password is welcome123, where W is capital. W capital, welcome 123. And login. This is taking me to web IDE, which is running on HANA Access Advanced Application Server. Okay. Or Access Advanced Runtime. Now, here. Now, see, now there are two perspectives. This is development, this is database. Okay. So, when you say development, we use this perspective to develop workspace when you want to develop your own custom applications. As of Access Advanced, you can create your own custom applications by using old XSJS, OData, and Node.js, Java programming, C++, and all those stuff, HTML5 and all those stuff. Okay, don't worry. Now, database here I come in. I'll say add my database. I would like to connect to my HANA database. Which database? Host is HXC host. No, sorry. This is not HXC host. This is what? SAP BAS, right? And I can see this notepad. Host is SAP BAS, and what is instance number? 00. And in the Vasu system, what you take, that is not a multi-tenant bus. It's a normal system. So user is, I think he has given HAN, and then password is welcome 123. That's it. Because in Vasu system, it is not a multi-tenant bus. It's a single tenant. There's only one database, so you don't have to specify multi-tenant or something. So then you see catalog, you see schemas. Now you can open your SQL editor from here. See, if you click on the SQL, it will open. It will open SQL editor. Say you can just. I have some schema called Cubex already in the Vasu system. If you click tables, I get to see some tables like this. I just want to write some small select. So select star from Cubex dot. What is my table? Contact. So I'll say run this. So this will give me results. So what is the data in this table? I can see this. This is one way of doing. I can a SQL editor, or straight away from this table I can right click. I can say open preview. What you can say? Open data. This will also show me the data. Either way. So this is one of the web-based tools. So either of this, okay, web IDE running on XS Advanced or web IDE running on XS Classic. These are the two web-based interfaces for the developer or the client user to work on the HANA database. And we also have HANA Studio. Even in Vasu system, you will see HANA Studio here. See, if you in the desktop you see a shortcut icon. Just go to HANA Studio. Now login. Vasu system is not multi-tenant. It's a single system. You only have go to use system DB, so don't worry on this. So what I've done is first making sure I'm in what HANA modeler perspective system, add system. Then in the notepad HANA details in this file in the desktop is placed all the details. SAP bash 00. Okay. So it's a SAP bash is my host. Mm, I think it was not caps and 00, and that's it. It's for him. It's a single container. Okay, and then you say my HANA system. Some name you can give, or I can say Vasu system. Okay, and says next, and then he has given me the username password. What is it? HAN and then welcome 12, and then next and say finish. Then you have the system catalog, content, all the schemas will be there, security, content, everything is there now. So you can three possibilities of to start working on to HANA database. I think I was pretty clear because I liked myself the way I teach, so it should be clear I think from your side. How do we connect to multiple databases in HANA Access ID? We'll see that. Don't worry. Okay, that they'll be running on different ports. We'll see that. Web ID means any web application is it? Yeah, web ID is just a web application. Okay, web ID is nothing but a web applications running on some server. So when you have web application, it should run on some runtime or some web server, right? So if you understand technically, XS Classic is one runtime or one web server. XS Advanced is one runtime or one web server. So this Classic Web IDE is running on Classic XS web server, and this Web ID of Advanced is running on XS Advanced web server. That's it. And you can either use all this and start working on to HANA. So from tomorrow we'll start getting once we have the connections available all this, then we can start tomorrow. We'll start working on to databases. Okay. Thank you all. Bye. I hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.